Don Quixote's Doflamingo.
You help
Okay?
on Doflamingo?
I'm helping Doflamingo, and let
The
me explain
Joker?
why.
That during the
But I know you're just trying to make my job
episode.
harder.
I know. Why are you
I feel
making
like-
editor?
I feel
editor
like you wake
Josh's
up
problem.
every day and you say, "How can I fuck over Ox
How
today?"
can I make Ox a little bit
How
more
can
pissed
I
off?
fuck this up? All right.
Listen.
Well, if you are just tuning in, Rogers is done. The PG is off the table. It's rated R. We're here. We're ready to blast some more podcast content your way because we do this weekly now. We are in the middle of our villain arc if you haven't been watching the Rogers episode already, but we know you are because you're awesome. And we are now going to talk about our two next spicy topics in our villain saga, and that is, if you could help a villain succeed, who would it be? And what anime verse has the best villains? Let's take it off. If we could help a villain succeed, who's it going to be? Who are we helping grant world domination? I already know mine. And it's partly because we're all living in it, and you just don't know it.
I got two good options.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Number one, Don Quixote's Doflamingo.
You help on
Okay.
Doflamingo?
I'm helping Doflamingo, and let me explain why. I know the dude was a savage, right? A savage, relentless, all these things. But at the end of the day, his main goal was to tear down the celestial dragons.
Yeah, to eliminate social classes, essentially.
Right? That was his main goal. Now, he was stupid ruthless, right? But I also, the other reason is because I just feel like he should have been more of a late game.
Yeah, they brought him in early.
Yeah, he should have been more of a late game villain, and I would have loved to seen him further down the line. Like, just him versus Gear 5 Luffy or something, I think would have been.
But I think he's playing. I feel like he's going to play a bigger role.
Yeah, I hope so. I
really
he's
locked
do hope
up
so.
right now. He's saying a lot of stuff while he's locked up that he's essentially not supposed to know.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to go against it because you hate the as a One Piece fan and as you watch, the world government is super corrupt. The celestial dragons are absolutely the most hated things in that series.
I think Power World's bad. Yeah,
right, and it's just like. You watch it and you see how the celestial dragons act, and the fact that he technically, he is one. Like, he hates it to his guts. I think I would definitely help Doflamingo achieve his goals. Now, would I close my eyes a little bit when he's slaughtering millions? Probably. But to tear down the celestial dragons, worth it. Call me crazy. At least you call me. You know what I'm saying? Oh God.
Don Quixote Doflamingo.
Yeah, and my other one would have been we talked about just earlier would be Maryland. I think that's another fantastic.
Yeah, I think he was actually trying real hard.
Yeah, well, it started out really bad, but he kind of realized and came to realization that hey, the strong are meant to protect the weak. I mean, he said that, yes, I would have to probably rule in fear in the beginning, but eventually I would create an equal world. And I truly believed him when he said that. And I hate that, he had to technically be eliminated by the Hunter Association. But I think that would have been another one I wouldn't have mind seeing the outcome of him making that decision and seeing what would have happened in the world. The only thing that the only time you really get to see what he's talking about, with the rich and the poor and everything, is just from that specific arc. You get to see little glimpses of, people in power, not in power. So I think that, it would have probably held a little bit more weight if that's something you saw from the beginning of the series to the end. Kind of like you do, in One Piece, you see the world government from day one, to current, world government, celestial dragon, how corrupt it is. So that would be my only reason for choosing Doflamingo over Arrow.
Fair enough.
Okay. Frozen?
Okay, so I've got a few, but I'm going to go in a direction you guys aren't expecting me to go, and mostly because I crap on this anime quite a bit, and it's only as a joke. But I'm helping my main man, Askeladd. We're taking down everybody.
Oh.
Everybody's going down.
Okay.
I like his story. I think he's a fantastic fantastic kind of villain that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he deserves his revenge for what happened to his people. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna help him get it.
Okay.
Another
He low-key kind of succeeded though.
Yeah, he did. He kind of at least started it out. You know, he got the person in power he wanted to get in power and kind of instilled things into them. So
yeah,
he kind of got what he wanted, but kind of didn't.
Yeah, that's fair. Another one I'm helping, Tamura. My Hero Academia. I just kind of love the whole idea of villains taking over the world and the hatred of heroes. Like, if you were to flip My Hero Academia on its head, I just kind of want to see what that world looks like. You know?
I could agree with you there if you would have went with Stain, the hero killer. Because Stain was more of an anti-hero. He wasn't a villain, but he in a society that's run by heroes and that they're paid, like, he did have a point.
Whereas
Toma Shigaraki
was villain.
Yeah, but I mean, technically he's out here killing heroes, right? But the thing with Toma is he just kind of used Stain's idealism to change, you know. So I feel like that's not really his true goal. So I like Stain better than Shigaraki, but I can see where you're coming from, Shigaraki.
And then if I had to pick a number one, I've got a straight tie between Madara, Uchiha, and Light Yagami, because they're the two most, you know, obvious answers to who we're going to help. Obviously, we want to see Madara get the Infinite Tsukuyomi off, but I low-key still think he did. You know, controversy plot point. Naruto's just happened in a fantasy world. and Light Yagami, obvious reasons, right?
You just want to slaughter millions.
Yeah, he's such a compelling villain. Like, it's so just and the thing is I can't even classify Eren Yeager as a villain because he really only has the villain arc at the end. So technically that makes his dad the villain, but I don't know, it's like one in the same, you know what I mean? So that's why I kind of wrote Eren / his father / creator of Titans off the board, right? Because it's just kind of like, it did unfold. It almost did happen. Well, technically, it did happen, right? If we follow the Eren Yeager and the end of the story, it did happen. It's so really that one didn't really fit the bill, but it's like almost a dead tie between Light Yagami and Madara, because I kind of want to, you know, see how that world unfolds that way and where it goes from there.
Makes sense. There could be some really crazy answers in this, right? Like you get to see where some people's character lies. I mean, you know,
if you're Jake, I'm half expecting to see some like really. Remember when he wanted the tectonic plates to shift so he could
here we go.
I'm expecting.
Like, he's the type of person, Jake. You're the show Tucker. You're just or the Shao Tucker. You're like, I like him. I'm like,
okay. Well, you already got One Piece. Don Quixote is probably one of the best ones to pick from One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got Naruto, Madara. Of course, everyone's been debating with Madara making a decision. But with Bleach, what's his name? The Quincy, the Majesty guy.
Yeah, knows, dude. Yahabek or whatever his name is. Yawabek or something like that. Yeah.
But like his idea that he wants to destroy the Soul Society because they're releasing souls that need to be condemned. He's kind of got a point.
I don't know. I'm gonna argue with you on that one, dude, because like the Soul Society's right. They're killing souls. Quincy's are killing souls. Yeah. Where the Soul Society is releasing those souls. Right, so when the soul goes away, it becomes I can't even think of what they call them in the verse, but I think you're wrong for killing them off, right?
But their reasoning was because those souls can come back again and become a play again.
They go to the Serete.
Yeah,
the souls remain in the Serete once they're no longer.
But I thought they could be re-released from the Serete back into the world again.
I don't know. I don't think they can be re-released.
And I thought that was the whole point, like why the Quincy's hated the Soul Reapers, because they kept like sending souls back and over again to like an endless loop.
Well, the Quincy's hated Soul Reapers because the Soul Reapers pretty much killed them off. Because they had a war because one was killing the souls and one was basically reviving the souls.
Okay.
And that was their, their argument was like, hey, we can kill them. That gets rid of them. And the Soul Society was like, no, like, we can save these souls at the same time. And I think that's where their beef came from.
Okay, because I thought the Soul Society was like just recycling them back into the cycle of it.
Was the Soul Society wrong for capturing Quincy's and torturing them and all this other business? Absolutely. But I think it's tough. But killing off the soul, I think that's rough. I thought you were going to go with Eisen. I thought you were going to go with Eisen.
Eisen was just a power-hungry guy.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I think he wants to, like, topple the Soul King.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, the ins and outs of it, of what the implications of that would be. Like, if the Soul King is torn down from power, like, what is that,
Yeah, because seeing his royal guard is like the first time we actually have any remnants of the Soul King.
That's a pretty good one. I wish I remember what they're called now. In Bleach. I'm off my game, guys.
What's called?
The main enemy in Bleach, whenever the souls change and they turn into the I keep wanting to say Heartless, like it's Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts here.
Yeah, but it's not good. No, it's not Heartless. But I see where you mean. Grimjow's a good one, dude.
Grimjow's cool.
Shit. I don't know if there's any other anime, like, because a lot, like you said earlier, there's a lot of villains that have a really good reason for why they're a villain, why they became a villain.
Yeah.
And I just there's honestly a crap ton. Like, even like we said earlier, Madara's one.
Well, and I think too we're looking at it as an overall, because let's be real, there are multiple villains in some of these longer spanning animes like Dragon Ball Z. I mean, 50, 60 villains, right? And Naruto, again, 20, 30, 40 villains, right? One Piece, the list can go forever, right? It's a matter of picking that one where they have the monstrous arc that almost feels like they've been the big baddie the whole time. And I think that the reason that Madara is attractive is because it almost does that switcheroo on you the entire series, right? When you learn about the Uchihas and they focus on Itachi, but then you realize, oh, Tobi's there. Tobi's really Madara. Wait, no, he's not Madara. Wait, yes, he is Madara, right? And then he plays a role throughout the rest of Shippuden as being, even when like the giant space celestial thing is it's still in some way all ties back to the grand plan, which when you go back 1,000 years to the first Hokage, it's like, it's still Madara, right? And how he was wrong, right? So it's finding that one villain in the sea of all the villains that kind of stands out. And that was the tough part about this, is that Tokyo Ghoul, for example, there's quite a few baddies in that one. Demon Slayer, again, same thing. There's an entire upper 10, right? Of just baddies that you can go off of and say, well, this is the goal, but they all serve one big baddie who is the ultimate goal, which I couldn't give any nod to Demon Slayer because in the anime that hasn't been revealed yet, right? We don't know what the ultimate goal is here. Obviously, it's to kill all the Demon Slayers, but we're only being introduced to the upper one and the big baddie at the end of the day, right? So speaking of which, I did forget to mention that dust off your calendars for February 23rd, guys, because it's training arc season and Demon Slayer returns.
Are they doing a training arc?
It is. It's the Hashira training arc. And
we'll see how they do.
Depending on where you are around the world, you can see it in movie theaters. Buy a ticket to watch it once a week at your local movie theater. I know that's going to come nowhere here, and it's probably a Japan exclusive thing, but that would be
sounds like
cool.
A waste of money to me.
You would love to watch some episodes.
No, not in a movie theater. It's hollows, Jake. They're hollows.
Hollows.
That's what it is.
Close
But I think that's because so I'm excited about as someone that I do be hating on Demon Slayer a lot. I'm excited about this arc coming up. I'm a big fan of training arcs. That's part of the reason why the season 1 is still my favorite season of Demon Slayer. Than all the other ones. But so I am excited about this one.
If you saw my latest thumbnail for the video we posted today, I tried every conceivable way last night to try and fit Demon Slayer just to piss off Ox.
I would have deleted it.
Into having Thor's hammer, and I just couldn't do it because their artwork is too damn intricate. I couldn't fit the hammers in where it didn't look god awful. Like I wanted it to look god awful in a comedy sense. That's why I did the classic Naruto and Sasuke. Hey. But there just wasn't a piece of art that I could find that wasn't watermarked to all hell. Yeah. And that worked with Demon Slayer because it was just way too into. There was way too much going on. Like it was just like there were water dragons and phoenixes. And I'm like, I can't fit any of this in a thumbnail. Like that's not gonna work.
Maybe if they spent a little less time on their art and a little bit more on the story, they'd probably actually have a good anime. But
and vice versa, maybe if JJK paid their people, we'd have a better anime. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe whoever wrote Solo Leveling,
there's the real villains right there. There's the real villains.
Hey, listen, that JJK season was some gas.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Oh, did y'all watch the new episode 5
of Solo Leveling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I didn't miss that. And Dr. Elise. Dr. Elise was absolute fire. All right. Like, I was knocking back shots of fireball just because that's how gas it was.
Episode 4, and I think 5 is about to come out like tomorrow or something.
Tomorrow, Wednesday,
yeah. I am caught up on current on both of those. That last episode of Solo Leveling, absolute favorite right there.
Right? I know it's getting better and better.
Because I'm a big fan on whenever they play into a character's like strengths. And like even from episode 1, I love a perceptive character. And he was perceptive enough and knew enough to kind of help those guys get by those dungeons and help a few people survive. And you got to play a little bit more along with that and his inner dialogue in this episode 5. I really enjoyed that. Now I am when it ended.
Yeah.
I was like,
my brother and I make it a point to watch Solo Leveling together. And I just want to say, I can now confirm that the creators of Solo Leveling are watching our podcast because in the last episode, I said, man, it would be really nice if they would tell us where he allocated those points to. Oh, yeah. And the very first scene of that next episode, he's like, well, I don't want to go too much into strength, so I better put it all over the place. And I was like, they listening to our podcast.
It was nice.
And my brother, we're sitting there, and as they're going in the dungeon, my brother is looking at me and he's like, these guys have some Laughing Coffin vibes, man. And for those that aren't familiar, Laughing Coffin was a player killing guild in Sword Art Online that was famous for taking people on missions, trapping them, and then PKing them, which is player killing, and ending their life. So he was just like, I don't know, man, the way he got this job, just giving me some Laughing Coffin vibes. And lo and behold, he wasn't wrong. But the thing is that they don't know is that he's such an ultimate badass that they really just robbed themselves of all that loot because he's going to beat that spider and they're not going to get anything from it. And man's going to get beefcaked out of his mind.
Yeah. I feel like my boy's going to beat the spider and be like, that was like easier than the snake.
He's coming up with dual wielding katana spider legs. All right. Yeah. Like we know.
And I think one of the funniest things in the episode is it started out as the biggest thirst trap you've ever seen in an anime because like all the nurses were like, you see the dude in room 107? He's fine, dude.
This had more thirst trap than a Tom Brady underwear commercial. All right,
let me tell you, it was. I was like, he's over there exercising. He's dripping sweat. That girl's like, "Can I get your number?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, dude. Like, you want to check up on me?"
He's just like us, clueless. Yeah, got some test results coming my way.